what I would like to do is I'm going to direct these to Julia first, but then, John, if you would like to weigh in on any of them, please feel free to do so, okay? So we're going to start with this question, Julia. The Commission seems to ask for a lot of detailed business information. How can I be sure that my or my client's information is not shared or made public?
Yeah, I think it goes to the seriousness that the participant, and it's mostly law firms. You do have individual companies that will involve themselves in the process. They're allowed to, but mostly you're represented by counsel. Now, you, as a law firm, as a lawyer, you have to represent certain types of parties under the statute. They're defined, the interested parties, and only if you represent, say, importers or foreign producers or U.S. producers, then you can request access to information through the administrative protective order. Now, if we don't do our job and protect that information that we receive from all these competing companies, you know, because that's the essential issue with these cases is comes down to competition. If we don't do our job and protect that information, then there's serious consequences to us as lawyers. Both the Commission and Commerce have processes to sanction where there's been violations of the administrative protective orders. Say you didn't accurately prepare a public version and you inadvertently disclosed another party's information, because again, this is all out there on the internet, or you sent it to the wrong person, what have you, but you can be disbarred from practice before these agencies. Or you can, you can be fined. There's quite a lot of very serious implications to lawyers practicing in this area, and so we all take it very seriously. And it also can affect your client relations. You know, if you can't be trusted with this information, then you're going to frankly have a hard time getting new clients or keeping your clients. So there's a lot of very serious motivation to be protective of this information so you can do your job well. So that's what I would say. That I tell people constantly, I tell clients constantly, have faith in the process because it really does work.
Oh, thank you for that, Julia. Is there anything you'd like to comment on about that, John? Anything to add?
Well, two things. First of all, the lawyers who practice in the area are very conscientious about protecting the information. As Julia said, the circumstances, if you don't, are severe. And, you know, this is all delivered in eyes-only envelopes, and we have to keep them in locked areas and don't leave them on desks and stuff like that. But secondly, the Commission, you know, reputationally, they need the information to do their work. And if it were to happen that, you know, that they didn't have really good information security procedures, then other companies would just stop cooperating. It would become impossible for the agencies to do their job. So they do take it very carefully. The other thing that happens in most cases with filings, you file your confidential item and you have a day after that to file your, you know, to complete the bracketing and file your public version. So you do have like an extra day to make sure you don't screw up and release any sort of private information.
Oh, thank you, John. Julia, I have another question for you. How long are ADCVD orders in place?
So once they're put in place, they actually stay in place. And as John mentioned, they're annually reviewed and they might be adjusted. The rates go up and down depending on reviews and whether and who participates in that process. And frankly, they can stay in place indefinitely, but are subject to that sunset review process that I referred to. That's every 5 years. So that review can be, parties can participate and go through the full process at either agency. But if, for instance, the domestic industry is perfectly happy with the order being in place and the rates are good for them, then they just have to express an interest that the order continue. They have to do a filing with the Commerce Department and let them know that, yes, we're still interested. At the proceedings, if you're on a respondent side, I personally don't see that they're particularly effective at the commerce side to actually revoke an order, but it does happen. There is a bit more of an opportunity at the International Trade Commission during a sunset review to have an order revoked. I think it's fairly rare during a first sunset review, so you're going to probably look at least 5 years. But the older an order gets, you can imagine, 20, 25 years, that the market has changed quite a lot in that period of time. So it gets more and more likely every 5 years that an order will be revoked because of a sunset review.
Okay, thanks for that, Julia. John, I just want to give you a chance. Is there anything you'd like to add in comments to that?
As Julia said, the orders get reviewed in a sunset review every 5 years with a view toward getting rid of them, but they tend to just stay around forever and ever. Ultimately, if the domestic petitioners don't indicate they want it continued, it'll disappear very quickly. But some, as Julia was saying, some orders, the one I'm thinking on, Case Pencils, has probably been around for 25 years, and there are some that are older than that.
Yeah. I think I want to add too that there is opportunity actually to negotiate on these ADCVD orders. Say you have a product, you have something new, and the domestic industry doesn't make it, they don't care about it. You can talk with them, and there is a procedure. Then I think it's at the Commerce Department, right, where you can go through a process and have a particular product excluded from an existing ADCVD order. And of course, that goes a whole lot easier if the domestic industry agrees to it.